Hi there, lovelies. I'm Rhonda Crimes. I'm a life and leadership coach supporting everyday people just like you to reflect and rework your everyday stories so you can step into the everyday leadership of your families and communities and create compelling, meaningful, and fruitful lives every day. And today, let's talk about the practice of witnessing. This is the next video installment designed to bring more conscious awareness into your everyday life. I've been looking deeply into why we do certain things that don't always serve our own best interests or that perpetuate our own limitations. Each of the topics I've covered since emotional thresholds are intertwined and they overlap each other. I've drawn from the teachings of Bill Harris from the Centrepoint Research Institute. He was a dedicated wisdom sharer who spent the greater part of his adult life finding, in his words, a better way. A way to increase positive feelings and experiences, think and learn more effectively, better manage my emotional life, and reduce my stress level. I hope you get as much from this continuation as I have from learning and integrating those teachings into my own life over the last 20 or so years. One of the central themes that resonated deeply with me was to watch what is happening, watch with curiosity. On face value, that seems a little too simple, but it is tremendously powerful when put into practice. So what does that mean and how do you do it? By being the observer, the watcher, the witness. This is also a central theme to many of the meditative practices and may sound esoteric or otherworldly. So I want to bring it back down to earth and explain it in a manner that is more practical and everyday. Now, as I've been saying for this whole series, and probably beyond that, that resistance is the birthplace of discomfort, and you create your own resistance. So to follow on, you create your own discomfort. If you are experiencing any form of discomfort in your life, there will be some form or level of resistance. To overcome this discomfort, to move back into a position of personal power where you have control over your destiny, you need to take responsibility for the responses you choose to whatever is happening all the time. When you take responsibility in choosing your responses, you move to the cause end of the cause and effect process. You're no longer an effect victim of your circumstance. Importantly, from this place of power, you have the opportunity to choose differently instead of using the automatic response mechanisms created from your early iterations of your internal map of reality. Now, sometimes this response is unconscious, but it still originates from within you. So why then, if you are the creator, would you choose a negative response? Simply because one part of you is in resistance to whatever is happening, and some other part of you is trying to change, to reorganize at a higher level, but you have attached safety and familiarity to the old response. So you don't feel safe letting the change happen. If, when you were growing up as a young child, maybe saying how you felt was met with ridicule or dismissal by your family, so it wasn't safe to express your emotions. But now you've been doing some personal development and you're learning how important it is to move your emotions through, to not suppress them or ignore them, And this is breaking your old pattern and creating the possibility of emotional expression with others. So, consciously, you want this, but unconsciously, there's this old way of being, the inner child part of you that kept you safe for so long. So you resist. In Bill's own words, the more essential this old way of being seems to your safety, the greater the resistance will be. The greater the resistance, the greater the discomfort, the greater the suffering. So, whatever the discomfort, there is conflict happening inside you as one part of you is attached to maintaining the known safe strategy, and the other part of you is trying to grow and evolve at a higher level. Okay, so what can you do about this? Well, if you're really resistant, you'll probably just want to quit and return to your safe old ways. No growth for you. You'll develop all sorts of explanations for why it isn't right for you to change. Maybe how dangerous it is, or how difficult, or how hard, or how it really isn't that bad at the moment, is it? Your inner child is far too attached to the security of the old map of reality. As a quick example, think about what you say or what you hear when people talk about making dietary changes. Enough said, right? This is where the concept of watching or witnessing or being the observer comes into play. First of all, remember that discomfort is not an essential component of change. It's only there because you're creating it with your resistance. It isn't there because life is unfair, or because of other people, or because of some situation you now find yourself in. Discomfort is there because you're resisting the change, or resisting that someone or something is being the way it is. For many centuries, ancient wisdoms have demonstrated that if you step back from emotional, personal, mental, or spiritual situations and watch whatever happens with no agenda or purpose for what does or doesn't happen, the resistance disappears. When the resistance disappears, any changes that are trying to happen can be made without suffering. The fundamental belief underpinning this is that you will only continue behaviours that are self-destructive if you do it unconsciously, without awareness. Although we've developed many intricate strategies to keep us unaware. So next time you find yourself in discomfort, just acknowledge the feeling and then notice yourself feeling that way. Don't try and stop it or change it. Let go of any agendas for what you think you should do or should happen. Feelings are experienced in the body. So notice where in your body are you feeling it. Notice if it changes or if it stays the same. Does it move around or is it in the same place? How does it manifest for you? Any sweating, blushing, tingling? Become genuinely curious about the experience. I love how Bill suggests that you pretend you're a scientist who's been searching the Amazon jungles for 20 years for a certain butterfly. And finally, here it is. How carefully and curiously would you watch? Take the time to bring that degree of curiosity to yourself in that moment as you respond to what's happening. It can be said with a high degree of predictability that you will have been feeling these uncomfortable feelings on and off for a long time. But I wonder if you've ever taken the time to truly bear witness to yourself, to bring the level of awareness to what has up until now been an autoresponder. Be assured, as you continue to witness, it becomes ever more difficult to maintain the resistance. Curiosity is the other side of the coin to resistance. It's like the resistance antidote. Next time, I challenge you to get invested in yourself and really watch with curiosity to find out what is really happening, instead of finding ways to validate your old map of reality by blaming others or your environment, or by analysing and tallying to keep score for how hard done by you are when stuff happens to you. Once you are watching, it will become very obvious that you could make another choice of how to respond to whatever's happening. There is always time between stimulus and response, and I encourage you to use that time wisely for your own benefit, to learn and grow through curiosity. If you find yourself watching with an agenda, perhaps, for example, to stop the behaviour, know that you're no longer witnessing or just watching. So be aware of that. To be a successful witness, you must have no other agenda other than to watch and be curious. Now, you may have heard suggestions like lean into the feeling, love the feeling, surrender to the feeling. These are all versions of saying stop resisting. And the way to do that is to become the curious witness. Remember, it's your life and you can feel whatever you want. So why not become genuinely curious about what is happening? When you practice this with more regularity, this witness aspect becomes innately stronger and can often be summoned when needed. This is the precursor to expanded awareness, and that too will grow more and more to include a deeper understanding to the connectedness of the universe. Bill philosophically proposes that the watcher part of you is the real you, the self with a capital S. The rest is just a creation of your mind. All the analysing and thinking and blaming and suffering is just your mind distracting you from the real you. So, if resistance and suffering are your BFFs, please take this suggestion to watch with curiosity really seriously. Stop fighting with yourself. When you do that, the discomfort and the distress falls away as if by magic. I want to also remind you that you can get a copy of my Managing Emotions booklet, which includes the emotion wheel for identifying emotions that crop up, and it will then help you decide if they are comfortable or not. You can use this link, bit.ly/managing emotions with Rhonda. This will be a handy reference to use as you work through the information I talk about in these videos. It's not enough to just say, I'm angry. Learn to be more specific. Instead of just saying, I'm angry, work out if you're feeling let down, betrayed, resentful, aggressive, provoked, or hostile. Each is a different emotion and the response will be different as well. This alone could actually provide really useful insight into your automatic response mechanisms. So next week, I'm going to talk about good and bad generalizations. I hope you can join me again. Please be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe, or a like or love and follow, depending on the platform you're viewing this video on. Also, please remember, if your now is not the picture that you've painted for yourself and you'd like any help on this discovery path, or something completely different that you intuitively know or feel isn't letting your true colours shine through, then please get in touch with me. You can do it really easily. Just leave a comment, send me a private message, drop me an email, or pop over onto my Calendly online diary using the link I've provided, and we can set up an obligation-free curiosity call and see if we're a good fit for each other. Much love until next time.